came to America, learned the language, became an engineer, so we have reports up through college. And at 55, he retired. So he's been quite famous ever since. Anyhow, apparently his only exposure to matzo is matzo ball.
Did you put back the
Okay.
takeaway trays where I put them? Talking about here.
Oh, you're on.
All right, Liz.
Containers.
All right, we're gonna start our service.
Liz, we're starting. Come on.
Come on, Liz.
All right.
Very nice.
We're going to start our service on page 6 of our Siddurim with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malekei HaShayres, Malekei El Elyon. Mi Melech Malekei Chamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem l'shalom, malekei hashalom, malekei el elyon. Mi melech, malekei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Baruch hu ni l'shalom, malekei hashalom, malekei el elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Seitchem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei el elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Shoshana, would you like to come up and light the Shabbos candles tonight? You're a guest. Okay.
Come, let us welcome Shabbat.
May its radiance illuminate our hearts.
Light is the symbol of the divine.
Eternal is my light and my salvation.
The light is the symbol of the divine within us.
The human spirit is the light of the eternal.
Light is the symbol of the divine law.
For the mitzvah is a lamp and the Torah a light.
Light is the symbol of Israel's mission.
I, the Eternal, have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Blessed are you, O eternal our God, who makes our lives holy through divine mitzvot and has commanded us to kindle the Shabbat lamp.
Amen.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat joy.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat peace.
Amen.
May the Eternal bless us with Shabbat holiness.
Amen. Shkoyach. Very good. We'll now turn to page 9 of our Siddurim for L'chadodi. Lechai doiti likrat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela lechai doiti likrat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad hishmiyanu el hamnuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad Lishem ol tiferet v'letehila lechai doiti likrat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela lechai doiti likrat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki hi mekor habracha merosh mikadem nesuka sof ma'asa b'matra tehila lechai doiti likrat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela lechai doiti likrat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela Hi ori, kiba ore kumi ori, ori, shir daveri kavod Adonai alai negila lechai doiti likrat kala yadada 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 b'nei Shabbat Nekabela alecha idoidi likrakala yadada b'nei Shabbat. Nekabela. Now we face the entrance or exit of our building as we welcome in the Shabbos bride. Boi v'shalom atzeret bala gam b'simcha uvitzola toch emune am segula boi kala ale chaydoidi likrat kala yadada b'nei Shabbat Nekabela alech aidoidi likrakala yadada b'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Remain standing now for the Hatzi Kaddish on page 11 of our Sidurims. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba Bi'almadi rachirutei v'yamnik malchutei B'chayechon uv yoimechon uv chayei dechol beit Yisrael Ba'agala ubizman kari v'yemaru Amen Yahei shmei Rabba mivorach Ve'adam elal me'al maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitfa'ar v'yitnaman v'yitnasei V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shamei dekudesha v'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechem mata damiran mi'alma v'yemeru Amen. Page 12, we join together for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMivorach. Baruch Adonai HaMivorach Le'olam Va'ed. Page 13, we join together in the English italicized reading. Eternal God, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ari v'aravim. Blessed are you, O Eternal, who brings on the evening. Page 14 will join together at the bottom of the page for the translation for Avat Olam. With eternal love you've loved your people, the house of Israel. Torah and commandments, statutes and judgments you've taught us. Therefore, O eternal our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will discuss your statutes and rejoice in the words of your Torah and your commandments forever. For they are our lives and they lengthen our days, and we will meditate upon them day and night. May you never remove your love from us forever and ever. Blessed are you, O Eternal, who loves God's people, Israel. Page 15, we join together for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated for the V'ahavta on page 16. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'chayu ha'devarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatan levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shitecha b'beitecha u'b'letecha v'derech u'shachbecha u'vkumecha u'kshartam li'od eliadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam ayil mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru ba'asitem ekol mitzvotai ve'item kiroshim leilo lechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher Chotzeiti Etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Le'ot Lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet. Page 17, we join together with the responsive reading. Eternal truth is that you alone are God, and there is none else.
Make righteous all nations rejoice in your love and exalting justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares.
Let them beat their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation. Let them study war no more.
You shall not hate another in your heart. You shall love your neighbor as yourself.
Let the stranger be in your midst, to you as the native, for you were once strangers in the land of Egypt.
Announce the bondage you went forth to freedom. Let all be free to sing joy.
Mi chamocha ba'alim Adonai, mi chamocha nechar b'kodesh, nora teilos osei feleh, malchutecha ra'u v'neka bokeyam lifnei Moshe, ze eli anu v'yamru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. ונאמר כי פרע אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. Page 19, we join together for the translation for Hashkivenu. Cause us, O eternal our God, to lie down in peace and to awaken us each morning with life renewed with strength. Spread over us the holy shelter of your peace.
Help us to order our lives by your counsel and lead us in the paths of righteousness. Be a shield about us, protecting us from hate and war, from pestilence and sorrow.
Curb also within us the inclination to do evil, and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Guard our going out and our coming into life, with peace from this time forth, forever.
Blessed are you, O Eternal, whose holy shelter of peace is spread over us, over all God's people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Page 20, we join together for Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasod et ha-Shabbat le'doretain berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasod et ha-Shabbat le'doretain berit olam. B'nei u'b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasod et ha-Shabbat le'doretain berit olam. Ki she'et yamim asa Adonai et ha-shemayim v'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasod et ha-Shabbat le'doretain berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasod et ha-Shabbat le'doretain berit olam. We now stand for the Amidah prayer. Tefillah begins on page 21, the standing prayer. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu ve'imotzeinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Toivim V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imachot, U'Mevi Ge'ula Livnei B'Nechem, L'man Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Umashiach U'Magen. Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Nizrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Li'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atarav Lehoshia. Mashivo Ruach Umarid Hagashem. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed. Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim. Saimech Noflim Virofei Olim. Umatir Asurim. Omekayem Emunato Lishene Afar Micha Mocha Ba'givurot Umidon Melach Melech Mimiz Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Atzale Hachayot HaKol Baruch Atah Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shim HaKadosh Ukoshim B'chol Yom Yahalelu Kasela Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We daven silently until page 29, where we'll join together for Oseh Shalom. Join together now for Oseh Shalom on page 29. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. V'yameru Amen. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good job.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. In one of the most prolific statements from our Torah, we recall the Passover narrative with the following verse told in Exodus 22. You shall not mistreat a stranger, nor shall you oppress him, for you were once strangers in the land of Egypt. We read that today. Reconciling the disconnect between our reality and this holy aspiration is traumatic and dramatically challenging. And recently, I had a dream. It was no prophetic, miraculous dream, but rather a reoccurring dream whose meaning remained elusive to me at first. But later I remember, and I thought back to my studies in rabbinical school, and I appreciate this disconnect, this dissonant disconnect of these two very different worlds, and a very important lesson I learned. My dream recalls a hypnotic children's video that I've been exposed to over the past few years. And in the past few years, Netflix has generously provided Little Baby Bum for the whole world to watch. They're music videos of popular children's songs, and they include London Bridge is Falling Down. And that's become my son's favorite song for the past year and a half. After hearing it for the first year and a half, I can't help but to think of the jingle almost every single day. And about 3 weeks ago, the jingle finally began to upset my sleep and eating cycles. Could I eat dinner while it was playing on the TV? Certainly not. Could I sleep with the soundtrack revolving as an Mobius strip in my head at night? No. So at night, I lay awake in deep esoteric thought, searching for meaning, gazing at the ceiling at night, full of wonder and amazement. And as my imagination sets in and I slip away into sleep each night, Little Baby Bum's absurd song, London Bridge is Falling Down, would appear in my dream. And I pondered, what did this jingle try to tell me? Why does it fundamentally bother me so much? So I needed to get to the bottom of this if I wanted to move on in life. So the opening of the Netflix video that repeats itself in my dream is so picturesque. It has the landscape of London, and out in the distance you see Big Ben and the soundtrack, Southward Cathedral, buggies, and the iconic red buses all in London. And as this cheerful nursery rhyme begins, a rotund gelatinous amoeba has swollen to the size of Big Ben. And the creature, which looks like it has stepped straight out of an archaic evolutionary past, begins to smile. And as the ever-joyful music jingles away, the creature goose-steps down King William Street across London Bridge to the cheerful, melancholy song of London Bridge is Falling Down. And as the amoeba moves, the body's vibration causes the foundation holding up Big Ben and Southward Cathedral to give way. And eventually the bridge connecting southward to the city of London crashes down with the other buildings, leaving the whole city in rubble. My long search for meaning of this dream led me to pore myself over our traditional rabbinic texts. Dreams are important in rabbinic tradition, and the Babylonian Talmud states that most details in a dream are purposeful, arguing that the absurdity in dreams is also meaningful. In a profound passage, the Talmud states in Berachos 55a that a dream that is not interpreted is like an unread letter. Elsewhere in the Talmud, in Berachos 55a through b until 57a and b, the text suggests that the image, every image in a dream, reflects a very deeper, even Freudian underpinning. A donkey may suggest the Messiah, and other images may reveal other aspects about oneself that one may want to keep private. But to my dismay, the great rabbinic sages had nothing to say about giant amoebas. For some time I remained frustrated about this reoccurring dream, and I was no Joseph, and the Talmud left me with no direct interpretation of a dream amoeba. So I lay awake at night, searching for answers, bothered by the jingle, thinking of London in smoldering ruin. And driving home recently, I was listening to the BBC, and the newscaster was describing that the impact of Brexit having on Great Britain. And that haunting dream came together in a very relevant way to me, involving a modern disconnect in the description of welcoming tolerance as described in the opening verses of Exodus that we recall today from the Passover narrative. In the verse, we are commanded to welcome the stranger, to not mistreat him, and to recall we were once strangers in the land of Egypt. And for me, the sights of the video of London, they evoke a deeply warm memory of people and places that welcomed me in as a stranger. In 2011, I lived in London for a year of residence while in the study of the School for Oriental and African Studies known as SOAS. And while studying in London, I lived in Robeson House and studied with students from all over the world. From the four corners of Great Britain's former colonies, they included Pakistan, India, Chad, Zimbabwe, and even Jordan. And most of my classmates, they were Muslim. And each day, every student on my flat would meet at the basement of our flat for Salat, and that is the Muslim call for worship. In 2011, I was living a very observant lifestyle in Jewish life. I wore a kippah, and I was proudly hanging an Israeli flag in my window and in my room. It greeted my classmates coming in and out of my dorm every single day. And for most of my classmates, I was the first Jew that they ever met. And for me, I was stepping far outside of my comfortably homogeneous Jewish world. My outwardly Jewish observance was met with mutually proud Islamic observances as well. We found more commonalities, though, than differences. And to this backdrop, in 2011, Great Britain appeared to be transitioning for good into the European Union. And I could travel freely from Great Britain to Paris in the Channel, and my classmates could easily travel across Europe with me. In 2011, I felt free to walk the streets of London wearing a kippah as a Jew, a proud Zionist, with my Muslim friends. But it seems unfortunately clear that the Great Britain of then is far removed from Great Britain of today, and recent changes in Europe have moved the continent in a very different direction. The place of cross-cultural dialogue, tolerance, and welcoming in the stranger is not the same as it was once in 2011. In 2019, Great Britain was on the verge of Brexit, and Euroscepticism, xenophobia, and anti-Semitism began to run rampant across Europe. Intolerance had once again goose-stepped its way into Great Britain as a gelatinous, destructive amoeba, and it rocked the very foundation of Great Britain and obstructed the once great bridges between nations in trade agreements, refugee amnesty, and international relations. And it rebranded Great Britain for Britain First. First, it had commanded the Parliament with Boris Johnson's bigotry and then with Jeremy Corbyn's anti-Semitism. And it jeopardized the very foundation of key British institutions. The very foundation of Southwark Cathedral, the royal family, and the Anglican Church had all felt it. And its face belongs to a now archaic period of our history, of our past, and we need to send it back to where it belongs. We need to mind the ominous, crucial wording and visual effects of this very important video, Little Baby Bum's London Bridge is Falling Down. Can't hear us. Thank you. Thank you. So in just a moment, we'll be turning to the Misha Barak prayer found at the very back of our Siddureens. Misha Barak prayer can be found at the very back of our Siddureens. I'm going to be reciting the names of our most up-to-date Misha Barak list. If anyone would like to have any names added to our Misha Barak list, after these names are read aloud, please share with us those names so that we as one community may pray for the healing of mind, body, and spirit of our loved ones. The most up-to-date list includes the following names: Evan Mitchell Wadika, Tzvia Bat Margalit, Elise Souza, Suzanne Wadika, Ruth Das, Jerry Das, Vicky Hyatt, Bill Natras, Miriam Mendel Ben Shira, Nachman Ben Malka, Shlomo Leib Ben Malka, Alan Lewis, Esther Bat Ruth, Yehuda Ben Joseph, Russ Pineri, Jeffrey Stein, Jeffrey Koffler, Aaron Evers, Claudia Schachter, Courtney Zabadek, Linda Bloom, Aline Blitz, Linda Wilson, Rhoda Jacobs, Bucky Bunnell, Linda Goteb, Sylvia Stern, Myra Levis, Evie Schneider, Dr. Sharon Anita Wander, Sonia Richmond, Susan Skovernik, Fran Saywitz, Marge Eskren, Yisrael Reuven, Ben Devorah Elka, Stuart Kaufman, Ivan Radowitz, Ellen Thompson, Sharon Berman, Mindel Batya Batsura Riva, Bob Saywitz, Yuvan Zamos, Asher Ephraim, Michael Berkowitz, Sonia Richmond, Josie Emma Libros, Eileen Whale, Tom Bunn, Terry Kane, Chana Basura, Rivka Sharabekas, and Zanwell Ben Mutal Beshifra. Are there any additional names anyone would like to have added to our Misha Barak list?
today I was listening to the news,
Yes.
and in Israel,
Mm-hmm.
I think they said four young men.
Yeah.
Alright, they were shot.
They were shot.
Yes, and it was, to me, it's completely unacceptable. I don't understand how can this happen.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is anyone familiar with the event that happened in Israel? It leaves my mind wondering if it was part of the civil unrest or if it was a terrorist attack. We don't know. Either way, it is a terrorist attack, but we don't know if it's...
There was a car driven also into a group of tourists in Tel Aviv today.
Was it a civil unrest or terrorist attack? I mean, they're both terrorist attack, but is it...
Shot the driver. They shot the driver, so they think it was terrorist.
I believe it was terrorist. Do we have any other names? You don't? Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Sharon Lewis?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Gabriel Levesque
Gabriel Levesque?
and Sharon Lewis.
Sharon Lewis.
Yes.
Are there any additional names? Yes.
Gerard Longmore.
Gerard Longmore. Are there any additional names? Okay, now we will rise for the Misha Barak prayer found at the very back of our Siddurim as I open up the ark. Misha Barak Avoteinu Mikor Chabreka Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Beirak Imotenu Mikor Chabrecha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah sholema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We remain standing now for the Aleinu prayer. The Aleinu may be found on page 30 of our Sidurims. Once again, the Aleinu is on page 30 of our Sidurims. Aleinu l'shai be'aklaidon hakol l'teit gedula l'yotzeh breshis shelo atzana kigia ratzot v'lo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama shelo sam kalkenu kaken v'gor aleinu kichol chamonam v'anachnu korim v'nishtachadim oimoitim Lifnei Melech Malchei Chamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shahunetei Shamayim V'Yoser Haaretz U'Moshe Yekero B'Shamayim Mima'al U'Shchinatu Zo B'Govhei Meroimim Hu Eloheinu Ein Od Emet Malkeinu Efazulato Kakatu V'Torato V'Yadata Hayom V'Hoshevota El Avivecha Ki Adonai Hua Elohim B'Shamayim Mima'al V'Al Haaretz Mitachat Ein Od. Page 31, we join together in English. We therefore hope in you, O eternal our God, soon to behold the splendor of your might. Then will false gods vanish from the earth, and the idols will be utterly cut off, to heal the world through the sovereignty of the Almighty. Then will all acclaim you as their God, and forsaking evil turn to you alone. Let all who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend, and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, O eternal our God, let them humble themselves to your glorious name. Let them give honor. Let all accept the yoke of your dominion, that you may rule over them soon and forever. For the dominion is yours, and you will rule in glory, as it is written, the eternal will reign forever and ever. V'ne'emar v'hayai Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad. U'shemo echad. You may be seated. Our thoughts now turn to members of our community who have passed. Members of our community who are observing a yurtzeit for, also loved ones who have recently passed from our community. In a moment, I'll be reciting our yurtzeit list. After the yurtzeit list has been read aloud, I'll be reciting names from our community who have recently passed. If there's anyone who would like to add any names to the list, once it's read, please share with us those names so that we as one community may pray for the elevation of the Derech Neshama unto Shemayim. Our yurtzeit list for today includes the following names: Ruth Schneider, Eugene Kurland, Mary Tuman, Henry Appelman, Francis Offenberg, Manuel Steinhoff, Celia Scheff, Ruben Stumacher, Anna Jacobs, Elliot Drogan, Sam Rothman, Ellie Kaufman, Louis Balstein, Louis Peck, Francis Stopeg, Sidney Richmond, Daniel Peller. Recently passed from our community are the following names: Steve Goldblum, Jacob George Toll, Peter Lizama, Stan Perlman, David Schneider, Raphael Marcus, Florence Schneider, Sylvia Tannenbaum, Florence Gottmacher, Philip Moret, Bruce Fleischig, Eleanor Harris. Is anyone else observing a yurtzeit here today, or would they like any other names added to our list for Shloshim? Stephen Rozovsky.
Fred Kellogg, Judy Merman, McDonald Smith, Larry Bershad, and Gail Marcus.
Are there any additional names anyone would like to have added to our list for this evening? Okay, if it is your custom, please rise. The words to the Mourner's Kaddish is on page 33. Yitkadal Yitkadash Shamei Rabbah Be'alma Digrafi Rutei V'yamnich Malhutei B'chayehon V'yomechon U'chayei D'chol Beis Yisrael V'aygalah V'zman Kariv V'imru Amen Yahei Shmei Rabbah Mivorach Le'olam Olamei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar V'yitraman V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei D'Kudesha B'reichu La'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechamata Damiran V'alma V'imru Amen Yehei Shlama Rabamim Shamaya V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen Oseh Shalom B'broma V'yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen. You may be seated. Simcha Shabbat, yeah. We'll do, first we'll do the announcements, and then we'll do who would like to do the announcements? Okay.
Guess who?
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Saturday, April 8th, Torah study and worship, Simcha Shabbat, virtual and in person. Torah study 9:30, worship 10:15. Starting April 15th, Torah study will be at 10 and services will be at 10:30. Wednesday, April 12th, Yisra and Yom Tov, virtual only, 6:30 p.m. Monday, April 17th, Matmadium, which is adult learning group, begins again, 12 p.m. You can bring your own lunch. Tuesday, April 18th, Yom HaShoah at Library. Rabbi Colin will be speaking. Registration is now closed. They have already over 100 people. Operation Wedding Film, Sunday, April 30th, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Monroe Township Library. Light refreshments, followed by Q&A with Israel Zalmanson, which was one of the hijackers. If you want, that one's still open, and that one you can call the office to reserve. Mother's Day coffee sale, place order by Wednesday, May 10th. More information on weekly email. Sisterhood, April 11th. Amy Simon will be here as a guest speaker virtually.
Yes,
Virtually on Shabbat, April 14th, and she is,
She is related to Larry Rychek, and she is also a scholar from
Michigan.
from University of Michigan on Holocaust studies, and she recently came out with a book on Yiddish memoirs, which she's translated
Oh, cool.
from the Holocaust survivors.
Liz, can we just clarify, services are in person
Yeah.
and virtual, she will be joining us
Yes.
virtually, okay? I don't want an empty building here for you.
No, no.
Social action virtually April 18th. Education committee April 19th. Holocaust service 5th to 7th grade leads here on April 21st. And what we're doing with that is that we're, what do you call it,
Voices of the Holocaust. So we're, you want me to stand up?
Yeah.
So what we're doing specifically for that Shabbat is we're highlighting members of our community who have actually been impacted by the Holocaust, either because their parents were survivors or their grandparents were survivors, and we're highlighting their testimonies and stories. So the children will be reading the testimonies of members of our community who are connected directly to our community, that is, children of survivors or that are the grandparents actually, and we'll be sharing those stories as part of our memorial service on that day.
And that's really going to be something, so I tell everyone that you should be here. Okay, Bat Mitzvah of Sabrina Singer is June 3rd.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take the old ones.
So it is Simcha Shabbat, and we have a lot of Simchas. Marilyn, would you like me to read all of the Simchas that's on Shul Cloud, or just these, or call people up and ask whoever is here to celebrate Simcha?
Usually we just call whoever's here
Okay.
who wants to. So.
Everyone who is here to celebrate something very special going on this month, please come on up here. Thank you, Heidi. Isn't there a birthday that you have that is April 7th?
It's today.
Yes, Stacy Levine's. Stacy Levine's not here. Okay. And is there anyone else who's? Well, you can vicariously come from behalf of Stacy. You have someone. Anyone else who would like to come up for anything else that is special that is going on for this month? Okay, I'm going to be holding up the talents on behalf of. Well, actually,
You need me on
I would actually
We can
like.
hold it for ourselves.
We can hold it. Okay.
Oh, not hurt ourselves.
Can't see you guys.
So you don't-
David, I would if you could, David.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Now it looks like you're Kohanim. So I'll hold this. I'll hold this. Stephen, would you actually be able to help too? Thank you. We need 2 able-bodied men to help out.
Okay, sure. And if we can't do it, Hofstra, you're up. Grab a sword. Oh, sorry.
Here we go, that's all right. There we go.
Pulling up the prayer on my device.
We're good.
Okay. On behalf of, I'm going to put my hand up here. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmarecha, ken yehi ratzon, ye'er panav elecha v'yichunecha, ken yehi ratzon, yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, ken yehi ratzon. Translated into English, may God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you, and may God always be gracious to you. May you always feel God's presence with you, and may you always find peace. Amen.
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 That was beautifully held up. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Mazel
And
tov.
we didn't have to call on
No, we
Hofstra.
No, we didn't. Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Mazel tov. What are we celebrating? What are we celebrating?
My husband and I were married 27 years on the 21st.
Mazel tov. And what are you celebrating?
79th birthday.
Mazel tov. Mazel
Thank you.
tov.
Oh, Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. We're going to conclude our service with Adon Olam on page 34 of our Siddurems. Page 34 of our Siddurems.
What? This is coffee.
Yes.
All right. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nira nikra li'et nasa v'chesol kol azai melech shamo nikra v'yachai trekid lo takol levado yimloch naira v'hu haya v'hu hoveh Vehu iya betif ara, vehu echad v'yein sheni, leham shilo lehachbira, veli reshit veli tachlit, velo chaoz v'hamizra, vehu eli v'chaya goali, v'tzorchev li v'yein sara, vehu nisi oimanos li, Menat kosi peyom ekra biyado akidruchi v'yetzi shan v'yaira v'imruchi geviati Adonai li velo ira. Good Shabbos, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Stephen, would you be so kind as to lead us in the motzi as well as in the kiddush? Thank you. All right.